Welcome back to another episode of the Five Star Podcast. This is episode 17. Again, my name is Jesus. I got my co host Ray.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
It's going really, really good. Getting really excited. The schedule is out for the NFL, as you guys might have seen yesterday. Um, this just means that we're one step closer to games being played. So I'm excited. Are you excited about the NFL season?
Oh yeah, let's do it, man. I've been ready.
Yeah, and so I haven't actually looked at the full schedule because I wanted to save it for like kind of like a live reaction for y'all. So we're gonna go through like just each game, maybe give our thoughts on it, and then we'll kind of look at the schedule as a whole for the Cowboys. Not for the whole league. But I know this had leaked early on. We'll get right into it. Week 1 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's gonna be on a Thursday. So just right off the bat against the defending champions, Tom
Yep.
Brady. Everyone was freaking out. What do you think?
Nah, I love it. I love it. Right away, go up against, what's regarded as the best team. What better way to test your team? We have a revamped defense, new defensive coordinator. Dak is healthy, team looks healthy. I mean, hopefully they can stay healthy through the offseason. But I don't think there's any better way to start a season than to go up against, the reigning Super Bowl champions. You get that win, and I mean, you feel great going into the rest of the season. I mean, that to me it's a special lineup.
Oh yeah, we start off on the road. It's gonna be a crazy test right off the bat, and
Right.
and we already know how it's gonna go. Week 1 overreactions. Whether we win or we lose, it's gonna be. If we win, it's gonna be like, oh look at us. If we lose, it's gonna be like, oh look at us.
If we win, we're Super Bowl bound. If we lose, we're just as bad as last year. So
And fire
there's
McCarthy and all.
yeah. I will say this though. Tom Brady made a comment, that he's looking forward to playing against America's team.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so he put that out there, I think Instagram or something, but he put it in air quotes, or he put it in quotes, and I like that. I like that, he's challenging that a little bit, but I gotta say this, we were picked to play against them week 1. I mean, that's because we're America's team.
Let's
So
go.
just let that serve him as a reminder of, I don't care how many rings he has. Hey, yeah, you're the GOAT, no doubt. But the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. And don't you forget that, boy.
Oh wow, there you go. Start off strong. That goes to all the Steelers fans too. My little
Oh
brother
yeah,
and
no
Alex.
one's ever called the Steelers America's team. No, that's the thing. Like, I love that people are like, "Oh, Cowboys aren't
Yeah.
America's team," but nobody else is called America's team. Like, only the Dallas Cowboys are referred to as America's team. We are America's team. So, I mean, I'm sorry, like, we haven't won in a while. I'll give you that. That's fine. We're still the most valuable franchise in all of sports.
Yeah.
We have a huge fan base, and we get picked to play against the defending Super Bowl champions week 1 to kick off the season. That's no
There you go.
coincidence because we get the views.
Exactly.
So,
All the views. And, just for some reference here, I was going to name this podcast America's Team Podcast, but I know there's like a lot of legal stuff there, so I didn't want to mess with that. But moving on,
good call. Let's not get the lawyers
I
involved.
know, but it was a good name. I like it. But week 2, we'll go up against the Los Angeles Chargers. So we start two. It looks like two away games. Rookie QB. So depending on, I guess, how we do week 1, we'll go up against Justin Herbert and the Chargers and their good defense. And yeah, it's a pretty good matchup. I like it. West Coast little trip right there right off the bat.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Justin Herbert last year, what he was able to do in his rookie year I mean, it was incredible. I still think he's actually one of the most promising quarterbacks in the league. I mean, I think he hasn't even hit his highest potential, but I think he's one of those guys that, I mean, it won't be long if he continues the way he's shown that he can play. If he improves a little bit and continues to grow, I mean, I don't think it'll be long before he's just widely regarded as one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's saying a lot, but I know I'm not the only person that sees that. I know analysts say that as well and stuff. So that's a great matchup. I mean, those two matchups right off the bat, two very difficult away games. I mean, that to me, you know, if you're coming into this season and you want to find out, hey, what kind of defense do we have? What kind of offense do we have? This is it. This is a great test. So I think right off the bat, those first two games will say a lot about what kind of team we are.
Yeah, great test. You got Joey Bosa on the defense. A great offense that's just going to keep clicking. I believe they ended up taking a lineman right on the draft, so they're only going to get better. And so I'm looking forward to those first two games, like you said. Like it's right off the bat, defending champions, Chargers, and then we move on. It looks like here week 3, Monday night game, our first primetime game, America's team versus the Eagles. We got what I mean, the Eagles did say that they were going to do a QB competition, but as of now, we know we're thinking Hurts is going to be the starter. Monday night, NFC East battle of the NFC East begins. Hopefully, it's
Oh,
not
sorry
like
to jump in. I
yeah.
think I may have lost your audio there.
Sorry. There you go. There you go. Okay,
Okay.
so we'll go ahead and move on here. Week 3, uh, Philadelphia Eagles against Hurts. That's who they think is going to be the starting quarterback so far. They did say it was going to be an open competition. It's going to be a Monday night game, first one of the season for us. And battle of the NFC East begins there for us. Hopefully, the NFC East isn't as bad as it was last year, and these games really matter because you know how the standings for the NFC East can get pretty. You know, even if we're really good or we're really bad, the whole as a team as a division, it can get pretty important those games. So I'm looking forward to that first Monday night game there for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's a quick you know, that battle right there Monday night. I mean, like you said, we just can't afford to lose NFC East games. Whether the NFC East, is playing horrible football, it ends up competitive, or whether we're playing amazing football, have 10 plus wins, there's like two NFC East teams that are doing the same thing. So it's never just you're coasting into the playoffs. It never feels that way. And it always comes down to, it seems like the final game. So
Yeah.
I think I mean, then if you look at the schedule, I don't want to jump ahead too much, but they're also our last game of the season. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
this win, could be, crucial in tie breaking or things like that if the Eagles are, in contention as well. So, yeah, I mean, can't drop that one. That's one of those that you gotta pick up these wins. And our season opener at home, well, let's get it, man. We
Yeah.
gotta get it.
We definitely do, and I just so far I kind of like it. You know, starting off with a couple of tough teams and going to the NFC East, and then week 4 now we got the Carolina Panthers, and their new QB situation. They're bringing in from the Jets. They traded and they
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Yep, and they got rid of Teddy Bridgewater. So that's
Hmm.
gonna be an afternoon game on Sunday, and yeah, I mean right off the bat, I think that one's gonna be winnable. So what about you?
Well, that's interesting. I think, you know, it's Carolina Panthers have a big question mark over
Yep.
them right now. Like, we don't know what kind of team they're going to be. We don't know exactly how competitive they're going to be. I mean, bringing in Sam Darnold, I think Sam Darnold's great. I think, to be honest, anybody who ends up with the Jets is going to have a rough time,
Yeah, it's
So,
hard. Yeah.
I mean, Sam Darnold could come in and prove that, hey, it wasn't me over at the Jets. I wasn't the reason we were struggling, and he could lead the Carolina like Panthers, into the playoffs. I don't know, but I think that's very much a question mark on the schedule. I mean, it really depends on just, I mean, how good or bad the Panthers are. So
That's
it'll be an
that's
interesting one.
that's why they signed him. They're like, hey, let's see what you can do with us. And yeah, I don't know if he's great but we'll definitely get to see him. You know, he'll have 4 weeks until we see them, so that's gonna be a good one. Week 5, New York Giants. We don't really know what the Giants they re-signed or they kept offensive coordinator ex Cowboys coach Jason Garrett. Another year in that position. We'll see. We'll see what they can do. I mean, I don't really know if they got any better. I haven't seen anything crazy where it's like, oh, New York Giants, you know. But again, another NFC East game. It's important, like all of them. So I think it's gonna be. So far, I think we're gonna win that one.
Well, Saquon coming back from injury, I know he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. He was going to want to come back
Yeah.
playing strong, proving that, hey, this injury, it's not a lasting injury, and so I expect him to be playing, pretty hard. I mean, he always does. He's a great competitor. I actually enjoy the fact that he's on the Giants and that we get to go up against him because he's a great running back and we've done well against him in the past and he's burned us a couple times. So I like that matchup and I like that test for our defense. Can we stop the run against a really, really good running back? So that's awesome.
It'll definitely test our linebackers, everyone who we drafted, defensive ends, cornerbacks. The defense will be tested this season for sure. Week 6, um, New England Patriots, they re-signed Cam Newton. They drafted Mac Jones. Mac Jones fell all the way down to them. Looks like there might be a QB competition. We'll see who comes on top. I'm expecting it. Well, if I were the Patriots, I would still go with Cam Newton, kind of like that Mahomes situation with Alex Smith. Like let him sit for a year. Like these quarterbacks never sit for a year, and sometimes with good reason. I mean, you got a bunch of quarterbacks that started right away and have good success, but you have Cam Newton, give him a chance. 4 or 5 weeks, see. He's Cam Newton. I did read a lot of his interviews in the off season, and he said once like COVID hit him, it was just like he never was able to recover fully like he wanted. He so I maybe hopefully it's not I mean, I'm not saying it's an excuse, but we'll see if he can do some things for the Patriots.
Well, the Patriots got a backup plan
Yeah,
and I think they're in a good spot. I mean, they've spent a lot, over the offseason to, bring in talent. So, I mean, this is going to be a very different Patriots team. I think, I don't think they liked how last year played out. So, I think this year they're going to come, with a rekindled desire to win. Um, and I think Cam's their starter you know, unless he does anything to jeopardize that or gets injured. But, um, I mean, those first, 6 matchups, I mean, that's a lot of great tests. A couple question marks there, but I think all in all, you know, Patriots at that point, week 6, right before our bye,
yeah,
I mean, that's that's gonna be another really tough test. Bill Belichick, you can never write him off, no matter what team he's carrying
yeah.
going into the matchup. So
Well, the next, yeah, I mean, week 7 is bye, and I kind of like it. It's not too, I don't know, it's a little early. I usually prefer, in my opinion, later buys, but we do play the Thanksgiving games every year, so that's kind of like all the players say that's kind of like a mini buy as well. So kind of week 7 buy after you get through a very winnable games. A lot of these are winnable. Then start preparing for the second half of the season, and then you'll get another break in Thanksgiving. So week 7 bye. Week 8, we just looked at this right before we started recording. Halloween it looks like
yeah.
versus the Vikings, 7:20 Central, 8:20 Eastern. I guess the only people who wouldn't be affected that much would be the West Coast, 3 hours behind. So
If you got kids, go trick or treating early, guys. Just get out there at noon, 1 o'clock. Just get it done by 3. Get home, start the pit. But yeah, that's a Sunday night game on a Halloween. So
yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, 30-minute trick or treating.
just running house to house, man. Get your sprints going, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hoax. But hey, the Vikings say they were able to still keep Kirk Cousins. I don't know if it's popular with the Vikings fans or not, but they still got Diggs, brother of our Diggs over here, and I.
No, Diggs is over with the
Oh
Bills,
no,
isn't
Diggs
he?
with the Bills. Yeah, yeah, my bad, my
Yeah,
bad.
Stephon Diggs is
That
with
was
the
like 2
Bills.
years ago. What am I talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. This Vikings teams always seem to just come out of nowhere. Um, I think Kirk Cousins is still a pretty good quarterback. Nothing crazy,
Mhm.
but I just haven't heard anything coming out of Minnesota that's gonna wow. Like, oh, have you?
I mean, I know that Minnesota's, done well with the team that they've had. They do have talent. I think Kirk Cousins is good enough to get them wins and
Mm-hmm.
um so Dalvin Cook is a great running back, so I believe he's still with them. I haven't heard anything, but No, yeah. I mean, I think they beat us last year, so this is now an opportunity for us to, get that little revenge, and
Yeah.
ultimately, I mean, we have if our defense improves, I mean, I think this is a game that we can come in and potentially win, but it's not an easy one either.
No, definitely not. Going on to week 9, the Denver Broncos. Oh, by the way, that Minnesota Vikings game is also a primetime Sunday night game. So,
Right.
um, but the Broncos afternoon game, they traded for Teddy Bridgewater. They still haven't been able to get the QB situation, you know, handled ever since Peyton Manning left. They tried a bunch of different quarterbacks, and it just hasn't been working out. Their defense has always stayed pretty solid. Von Miller was injured last season, so we'll see if he can come back and be the explosive player that he is, even though he's getting up there in age. I mean, Broncos. All you can really say is, like I said, their defense is usually pretty good. It's just the offense can never seem to be put it together, and that's because they don't have a quarterback. We'll see what Teddy Bridgewater can do.
Right. Yeah, I think you know, well, sorry to interrupt for a second. I think we
Yeah.
lost our audio recording. Um
No. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, but yeah, we'll just keep going. I got you. Um,
okay.
Now recording.
But no, yeah. I think Broncos, that's one that it's a winnable game.
yeah.
And I don't really know exactly um if just how good they're gonna be.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is the type of team that's just gonna bounce back. I think they have a lot of holes, and I think they took Patrick Surtain when they could have taken Justin Fields, which a lot of people believed was gonna be their pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they could have done better to address their quarterback situation. I think they also there was rumors that they're interested in maybe getting Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is, reportedly unhappy over at,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Green Bay. So, I mean, I'm not really sure exactly what the Broncos are, but I mean, I think it's a winnable game for us.
Definitely winnable, and it looks like they're right off the bye week, a couple of winnable games. So I'm pretty excited about that actually. Just kind of looking at it here, again, live reaction. So I'm just kind of processing all this uh,
Right.
as it's coming. But the Falcons is the next game. That's gonna be another afternoon game, and so the Falcons, Matt Ryan. They decided to keep Matt Ryan. Um, they hopefully, with everything that they've gone through, maybe they're up and down all the time. Um, and I think that they'll be able to bounce back. And so we'll see how, we match up against them. I think it's going to be a good game. I think coming off that bye, just kind of looking at it, it's going to be a good test for us. What do you think?
Um, I expect us. I would like for this to be a game that we win. I think also Dan Quinn, leaving the Falcons. Well, I think getting fired.
Yeah.
Gonna have a little chip on his shoulder to, put out a good defense against them. I think there's a game we win, and we have to. These are the types of games that we have to win if we want to prove that we're a playoff caliber
Yeah.
team and a championship playoff caliber team. So, yeah, I think this Falcons week 10, yeah, I think this is one of those that we can't afford to lose, really.
Yeah. No, we got to make sure that we can beat these medium, medium to good teams. Because again, Matt Ryan can come in and win some games. So and I was reading the stats last year, and it's like I think they were the number one team that like lost games that were decided by one score.
Oh gosh,
Right? They were the ones that
they choked so much
yeah.
last year. It
So
was embarrassing.
I mean, oh, yeah, I remember. They could easily been a winning team. So
Oh
shit.
yeah.
All right, the week 11. It's looks like it's gonna be a 325 central. So that's usually the the Fox probably Troy Aikman against the I mean, not the defending champs. Just kidding. The Kansas City Mahomes. Let's go. We get to see our team versus Mahomes, man. We're gonna get wrecked, but it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, this is a hard one. Probably the hardest one that we have.
So far,
Honestly,
right?
between them and the Bucks, honestly, I think this matchup is slightly more intimidating. Patrick Mahomes, what he's able to do,
Yeah,
I mean, it's currently, I think, unmatched by any quarterback. And even in the Super Bowl,
yeah.
he did everything in his power to try to win that game, and he made some amazing throws that just were not completed, and like bounced off receivers' hands or helmets or whatever, and it didn't go their way. But I think Patrick Mahomes is it's like an ultimate competitor,
Yeah.
so a win from him is, and then at home for them, we're away. We're at Kansas City. That throws a new level of difficulty into it as well. So this one, I mean, it's a tough one for sure, probably one of the toughest ones, but I think that's why a win here is that much more valuable. Prove that you can play, keep up, and win against, the big dogs that you might see again in the playoffs in the Super Bowl type, situation. So, um, yeah, I mean, this is definitely the toughest one on our schedule.
Yeah, and that's really good because I think it comes at a perfect time. It's right in the middle of the season. We'll see who our team is. Hopefully, not a lot of injuries this coming season,
Right.
and our defense will be able to finally be put to the real test. It's like, okay, against an ultimate elite quarterback, offense, receivers. Let's see what we're really made of, and see what we can in the playoffs. Hopefully, continue to excel. So it's going to be a really, really good game. I'm very excited for that one. Now that I see it, I'm going to circle that one for sure. But since we play all the Thanksgiving games, the next one, a couple of days later, we go up against the Las Vegas Raiders with Carr. Um, just kind of another mediocre team. They could be good, they could be bad. So I'm glad that they didn't put us up against like a super good team right after Mahomes. Uh,
Right.
yeah, Thanksgiving, we're gonna be eating some food. We're gonna be watching the Cowboys hopefully beat the Raiders. I'm looking forward to that one too.
Yep. Yeah. This, like you said, Raiders every season seem to just, I mean, they're kind of like that, wild card, like where you just don't know what they are,
Yeah,
um, and they can look promising and then lose a lot, or they can look like
yeah.
they're not, gonna get many wins and then they come out and get a ton. I mean, the Raiders are just kind of this, just yeah, this unknown, this, but um,
Well, they got the new
they
stadium, and fans are gonna be going to that. So
right.
yeah,
So I know they're excited, and I'm actually excited to see them playing in Las Vegas and stuff. So, um, I mean, we won't see it on that game, but
yeah.
I mean, no, yeah, this is a game that, hey, Thanksgiving at home, let's get the win, man. Let's enjoy our Thanksgiving, man. I can't tell you, I feel like we play every Thanksgiving and we lose most of them, man. So, and it ruins my Thanksgiving night. Like, come on, man, we got to get this win. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go, man. Because I usually eating around that time. So, but the next game after that, it's another primetime Thursday night game again. New Orleans Saints. I'm so we talked about this. I'm thinking that Jameis Winston, is gonna be the starter. I think he's gonna be throwing many picks, many touchdowns, many yards. It's gonna be awesome. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do. I mean, Taysom Hill, like I know he was more like wildcat type of
Yeah,
quarterback, but
yeah,
I mean he shows talent, man. So I am curious to see what they do on that, in that matchup. Well, not in that matchup, in over the course of a
season.
season,
Yeah,
whether they split time the way they did before. I would imagine that even if Jameis Winston is a starter, that they do, involve Taysom Hill, and they paid Taysom Hill a good bit of money, I believe. So, um, Alvin Kamara, like I mean, he's a top running back. He's tough to bring down. I
mm-hmm.
think he had like most broken tackles or more yards after contact, something like that.
Yeah,
He's got this amazing ability to just not get tackled and keep getting you yards. So he's really tough. That's going to be a good test. Plus, Sean Payton's just an amazing offensive coordinator and head coach. So I that's never. I mean, with Drew Brees retiring, which what a hell of a career he had.
ooh, yep,
Um, but with him finally retiring, it's interesting to see what the Saints are.
yeah,
Life after Peyton, after Drew Brees. So yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna be a fun one to watch for sure.
yeah. No, and And with the same situation with their quarterback, I mean, that's really going to determine if they're going to be a good team or not. They have an incredible head coach, and we'll see what goes on. But right after that, I'm just kind of looking ahead. It's the NFC Gauntlet, and I feel like the schedulers made it this way because they just kind of wanted to see where every team is at this point, and then just kind of battle it out for first place. That's what it looks like. So we got the Washington. So I'm gonna go through this quick because we already mentioned these teams, but right after the Saints, we got Washington football team. Oh, we haven't talked about them because it's the first time we play them. They'll be having who's Fitzpatrick. They got Fitzpatrick as their
Ryan
quarterback.
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, and they were
That
pretty
is interesting.
very interesting because he can win some games, and this team was pretty good last season. Kind of like us, just a couple of things went wrong, some injuries. Well, we'll talk about them because we haven't talked about them. What do you think?
No, they're a talented team,
Yeah,
man. I think if just kind of looking like um Ron Rivera, like
yeah,
just I mean, great head coach. I mean,
yeah,
you know, he's he's a heart and soul of that team, and everybody like follows him.
yeah.
So I mean, he's got the locker room down. So bringing in Ryan Fitzpatrick, a quarterback who can win.
Mm-hmm.
He's not scared to throw the ball. He'll throw it deep. He'll beat you deep. I mean, he's a talented quarterback. I mean, he makes mistakes, but I mean, all in all, I think that he's a quarterback that can win. So I think when you look at their team and their talent, I mean, that's a team that, I think will be competing for, you know, potentially it could be first place coming down to Washington and Dallas.
Ooh, I know.
But yeah, that's a scary team, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that they left those two games there towards the end. Kind of says something maybe that you know, whoever made these schedules thinking that hey, it's going to be between Dallas and Washington. Um, but they left a lot of these NFC East teams all towards the end for good reason. Like I said, we're probably all going to be kind of close if we're winning the games, and then it's going to be battling out here the last month in December. See who's going to make. It's going to be the division champs. So after the Washington football team, then we got the Giants, and then we got the Washington football team again. That's going to be a Sunday night primetime game. And then they threw in a little Arizona Cardinals, kind of throws off a little bit at home. You know,
Kyler Murray,
Kyler Murray. They got
yeah,
J.J. Watt, right? They got J.J. Watt now.
DeAndre
Yeah,
Hopkins.
yeah.
Like, I mean,
Okay, so
nah, that's a tough game.
it's
I
gonna
mean,
on
we
paper.
got beat
Yeah,
bad last time.
yeah,
Uh, we can't let that happen again,
yeah.
especially so late in the season.
Yeah, and then this season, against a reminder in case y'all didn't know, it's a 17 game season. So that's why I went to week 18. So they added an extra game just in case y'all
I
didn't hear.
le- I legitimately just noticed that right now.
Well, there you go. See, maybe there is a lot of people. Yeah, there's 17 games, 18 weeks.
That's
So
right.
won't just they added one more game, and then we'll finish off the season against the Philadelphia Eagles. So yeah, I mean, all in all, just kind of overlooking this that those final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games right there. I'm like, ooh, that's gonna be the bread and butter of our season right there. What do you think?
Well, yeah, two spots I'm looking at right away
Okay.
is our starting three games
Mm-hmm.
and our
Okay.
last five. I mean, I think that's a very important, you know, I think that's really an important part of our season to get off to a strong start against, Tampa Bay, Chargers and the Eagles. I mean, getting wins there would be great. It sets us up to like, you know, have some room for error,
Mm-hmm.
some way down the season because, as we've discussed, like these games, they're not all gimmies. That these are challenging games. There's teams that we don't know who they are. Panthers, the Broncos, even the Falcons. These are
Yep.
games where, oh, you think that you right now looking at them now, they might not look like the best teams, but then you know they come out and do play at the highest level and beat us. So I think getting it off to a good start is really important. And then, but more than anything, yeah, the last five games, four of them being NFC East divisional rivals, especially the two Washington football team. games, back to back, well, 2 weeks apart, at the end of the season. I mean, that's crucial. You know, that could flip everything. We could be in a first place, and if we lose back to back against Washington, all of a sudden we're in second place, maybe competing for a wild card spot. And, I mean, that's the craziness of this. We're going to play each of the NFC East, opponents once, over the five last weeks, and
One of them
Washington
twice.
football team twice. Like, that's insane. I think the five last games are that's yeah, that's it. That's our season.
No, for sure. And one thing that I did look, I mean, I didn't look at the schedule. Like I said, this is live reaction. Um, One thing that I did look before though, and I was kind of curious to see when I was going through the schedule, is the strength of schedule was released even before the actual schedule because we already knew who our opponent was. So, and it was interesting. We're consistently in a bunch of these strengths of schedules from a bunch of different websites. We're consistently either the last or second to last easiest schedule, meaning that we have the easiest schedule. And so I was kind of curious to see like going through it, and I'm like, because they take a lot of these do like how good they were last year and like their record and stuff, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, I'm kind of looking at it through here. We a lot of unknowns. You got the Carolina Panthers, Giants, Chargers, Vikings, Broncos, even the Patriots at this point. Um, yeah, makes sense that we would probably have the easiest road. The I'm with you though. The last 5 games, I think that's going to be the main focus of our season, especially if we have a pretty good record going into those last 5 games. Um, but there's a lot of winnable games, and a lot of people think, according to this, that we have the easiest schedule. So I
Um,
haven't looked at everyone's schedule, but I mean it looks pretty doable. I mean, we were going through it like, oh, that's winnable, that's winnable. The only ones that really come out to me as not winnable is probably like Kansas City and maybe Tampa Bay.
I don't know. I gotta disagree with you on this. These strength of schedules, based on the previous, 17 games that or 17 weeks that the team played a year ago. There's so many times where we see that one team who was at the top is now at the bottom, and one team that was at the bottom is now near the top. I think teams change so much year to year that
Yeah,
you can't, judge anything based on strength of schedule. I don't think that's even a valuable metric at all. When I look at these teams, I see talented quarterbacks.
mm-hmm.
I see new quarterbacks and new teams, new situations happening, which
Yeah,
means we don't know what that team is. So when I'm looking at this schedule, I actually see a very difficult schedule. Even between the NFC East, um, none of those games are given. I don't think you can look at any one of those teams and just say, "Oh yeah, I mean that's a win." NFC East is always,
yeah,
they're always competitive. It does not matter how bad or good a team is. It's always a battle to win that game. And
no, that's
then,
true.
I mean, then you look at the rest of them. I mean, between Tampa Bay, Kansas City. I mean, Chargers, I think they're going to be one of those teams that really just kind of shock everyone and come out and win a lot of games. And Vikings can be that type of team as well. I mean, you just don't know. The Cardinals as well. Like, this isn't an easy schedule. The way I see it, this is a very difficult schedule. But I appreciate that because if we win enough games to make it to the playoffs with a schedule of this difficult team, I believe then we've proven that we deserve to be in the playoffs. And then, if we do go into the playoffs, we might see a few of these teams again. So
Yeah,
I think, the season would have adequately prepared us for, a playoff run potentially. But I think, between an easy schedule and a hard schedule, I prefer the hard one.
yeah,
Um, because it really tests you early and gets you ready for that playoff football. If we're cut out for it. And if we're not cut out for it, well,
yeah.
then we we know and we're out.
Then we're
So
out. No, I mean I agree with you on. I would prefer a tougher schedule, but I guess this is where we're gonna disagree. But I don't. Looking at it, I don't think this is a tough schedule, especially since we get these. We get Tampa and Chargers early on. Not a lot of teams know who they are, so those could be toss ups. Those could be easy wins for us, maybe easy losses because the teams haven't gelled. It's towards the back, and where it gets hard for me like is the last 5 weeks. I know we mentioned that already, but it's kind of live reaction on this. It's like, man, that's hard. That's gonna be
Yeah.
hard. And we will kind of do a next week what we think our record's going to be super early. We haven't even gone through training camp, and we'll redo it again after training camp once we're closer to the season. But we just kind of want to see if we change between now and when the season starts. But it's gonna. I mean, so far just looking at it, one thing that does pop up, we got We have 5 primetime games. So another America's team there. I don't know.
America's team, man. The people want to see it.
They want to see
So
us lose, I know, but hey, I think we're gonna win. We got Dak, we got Zeke back, we got everyone. It's gonna be an exciting season. I'm just trying to look here. I mentioned the bye. I like our bye situation because it's close to the Thanksgiving, so I feel like it's a double bye there. But I don't know. It does seem kind of easy. I know on paper maybe some of these teams can, I don't know. It looks easy to me, but we'll see what happens.
oh yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting to go back into a season.
Yeah.
Um, Dak Prescott with his contract, secure, no more. Oh well, he's got to play to prove himself. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he still has to prove that. Well, he's everybody's got to prove themselves, but you know, I don't think he's got that
Yeah.
that hanging over him anymore. That weight on his shoulders, like that's lifted. Now he can just go out there, ball out, have fun, and enjoy himself. He's signed for a long time. We're not cutting him anytime soon, even if he makes some mistakes. So I think this is where we might see some of Dak's best football.
And
And
he looks like he's progressing really well through his injury. He's talked about he's ready to play. And you know what's funny? I read a tweet that for that Giants game on October 10th, they said that's 364 days to the day since he got injured against
mm,
the Giants, and they were like,
right.
that wasn't a coincidence. It's like a year
Well,
later. Here we go. Let's see.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so cue the film on that one where 1 year ago
yeah.
today,
You see, they have it all
Dak,
planned out.
yeah, yeah, for sure. That's good. Yeah.
I
But
don't know.
no,
Cue
you
the
know,
film.
no, yeah, you know what they're doing. So, I mean, that's the thing, man. Dak is just such a inspirational leader
Yeah.
that I don't even worry. Like, I don't worry about him not being 100%. I'm more excited that, he's got his contract
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to be 100%, or very near it. And I'm excited to see him having fun out there, no longer worrying about his financial situation and
Yeah.
and getting paid. I mean, for too long we kind of like dangled the carrot, and strung him along, and finally we said, "All right, you win. Here's the money. Now let's just play some
Let's
football, man."
go,
So
man. Let's go.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Dude, I'm getting super excited as a lot of Cowboys fans probably are. We see those Zeke videos. Oof, he looks good, in my opinion. And it looks like we solidified the defense. Everyone was crying about it all off season. We drafted every defensive player, every pick except maybe two, and and I'm excited. Training camp it would be the next thing coming up in the schedule, and then we get into some preseason games. I think the Hall of Fame game. I mean, these really don't matter, but it's against Steelers, kind of cool. Um, but I'm very excited. So next week again, we'll pick like a record. We'll go through these, see who we think we're gonna win, and kind of just give an early, like super early, like what we think the record's gonna be. Any last thoughts?
No, I'm excited. Just excited for football, man.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, hopefully a more normal year this year without, all the, COVID restrictions, the lack of off season, and
Mm-hmm.
so no, I mean, I don't really have anything to add, just that I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. And we can both agree that maybe those last 5 games, right? Oof. On paper.
Yeah. Yeah, that could very well change the outcome of our season for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, NFC East champs here, 2021. No, we'll see y'all next time. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and give thumbs up and everything. So I appreciate y'all. Later.